sponsored by Munchie Biscuits. Munch into happiness. Hello, good evening. You're live on GBC News and GTV. It's time for news. I'm Siyoko Kwakutre.
My name is Shirley Annan. Straight to our first story. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says with an effective domestic revenue mobilization machinery in place, Ghana will no longer experience revenue shortfalls as a result of tax evasion and non-compliance.
At the launch of the Revenue Assurance and Compliance Enforcement race in Accra, Dr. Bawumia said the race is to help do away with tax leakage in critical areas such as free zones, gold export, mining, petroleum, and other sectors where tax evasion and fraud are dominant. The Revenue Assurance and Compliance Enforcement race is a new policy intervention by the Finance Ministry for domestic revenue mobilization. It is also to ensure high tax compliance and increase the revenue to GDP ratio from the current 14% to 18% in the medium term. This is expected to support the implementation of the social interventions programs such as Agenda 111, the Batam Parkers program, the Free SHS policy, and support for the private sector, among others. The Finance Ministry says Ghana's revenue mobilization is lower comparative to other lower middle income countries. This is as a result of the small number of taxpayers, which hovers around 2.4 million, tax evasion, non-compliance, lack of monitoring and enforcement. With the coming into being of the Revenue Assurance and Compliance Enforcement intervention, the taxpayer population is expected to increase from 14 to 18% in the medium term. A Deputy Minister for Finance, Mrs. Abna Osaya-Sari, said increasing revenue mobilization means the government can undertake its policies smoothly.
We are mobilizing more revenue to enable us create more decent jobs for the teeming youth who so deserve it. We are mobilizing more revenue to provide more access to quality education, including free SHS and school feeding. We are mobilizing more revenue to accelerate the delivery of quality healthcare, including the implementation of the famous Agenda 111.
The National Security Coordinator, Major General Francis Edu Amanfo, said this outfit will ensure that revenue due the state is collected.
It will also remove bureaucracies which typically conspire to prevent swift punitive actions against perpetrators of these illegalities. In effect, RACE will ensure that what belongs to Caesar is given to Caesar.
The Director General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Mr. Amishadai Owusu-Amoah, said the GRA has increased its revenue mobilization target from 58 million to 60 million cedis. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, said Ghana's revenue mobilization is weak and more must be done to increase domestic revenue mobilization, hence the introduction of RACE.
As the last line of defense in revenue mobilization, RACE is expected to identify and eliminate revenue leakages while reinforcing the culture of compliance, especially in areas such as petroleum bunkering, gold and minerals export, port operations, transit goods, warehousing, and free zones operations.
The Revenue Assurance and Compliance Enforcement RACE is a multi-sectoral initiative involving the Ministries of Finance, Trade, the Interior, National Security, and the Ghana Revenue Authority.
The Ghana Police Service now has a new surveillance monitoring system in place for the men in uniform. This means that enforcing the law has taken on a new dimension. With the opening of the monitoring center, the police says it is better armed to step up its duties. The initiative, the police administration says, is a flagship program of the acting IGP, George Ikufudampare.
Crime and road carnage are a daily feature in the country, with cases increasing by the day. Apprehending culprits seems to be a challenge for the peace officers in a bid to capture culprits of such crimes on the blind side of the law enforcement agencies. The system gives the police a picture of happenings across the country and helps them unravel some of the complicated cases of armed robbery, accident, hit-and-run cases, among others.
Infraction is an infraction, whether from the police officer, when he comes out, the person also makes it that there was an infraction against the police officer. The tape will come to the fore. Therefore, it's for societal good.
Chief Inspector Joseph Zanu explains how the system works.
The cameras you see displayed on the wall here are not the ordinary CCTV cameras, as I said earlier. They are referred to as the intelligence video surveillance cameras. These cameras have special features that makes crime detections very easy. For instance, we have what we call the automatic face recognition. What it means is that when you commit a crime and your image is brought to the police service, you enter it, we are able to look out for you with the help of these cameras. We also have what we call the automatic number plate recognition. When you commit a crime and you're running away with your vehicle, once we have the registration number of your vehicle, we enter it into the system, you get to our camera locations, we are able to capture you, we are prompted.
With the system in place, it is believed that it would be easier to bring offenders to book. In the words of the police administration, this is a name and shame system.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Police Service will, from 27th August 2021, start a recruitment process for qualified Ghanaians who are interested in law enforcement. The Acting Director General of the Public Affairs Department of the Ghana Police Service, ACP Kwesi Ofori, cautioned the public, especially prospective applicants, to be careful not to fall prey to fraudsters during this exercise.
Nobody have been taxed to go from one community to the other, to sell any form, to collect any money on behalf of the police administration. All laid down procedures and regulations have been properly indicated in our advertisement, where people are to go to the commercial bank. No code have been given to any private person to use. And I said those who come to communities, those who visit communities, those who go out there to transact their nefarious business as if they've been taxed should immediately be arrested and sent to the nearby police station for investigations. Therefore, when you're a member of the public and you part any money or monies to those scammers, those fraudsters, you do so at your own risk. Again, some are even trying to use names, offices, to go out there to defraud people, mentioning specific police officers. All those things does not hold water. And therefore, we urging the public to challenge those people, arrest them to the nearby police station or make a report to the police.
Each time the Bagui Dam is to be spilled, farmers and all those living along the White Volta are advised to move to higher grounds. Usually the excess water destroys livestock, farmlands and properties, mainly houses. However, ahead of the annual spillage from Burkina Faso, scheduled to begin on Friday, August 27, 2021 to the 30th, our Upper East Regional correspondent Samuel Ayama reported earlier that most parts of the region are already flooded due to heavy rains.
GBC News spoke to the Boko Central MP, Mr. Mahama Ayariga, who proposed that a permanent solution should be considered for the people of the Upper East region. He said getting them a shelter at a safer location will help.
Along the White Volta, such as those in Binduri, Garu, Boko West, Talensi and Nabdam districts, existed before the construction of the Bagui and Kompienga dams in Burkina Faso. According to the Member of Parliament for Boko Central, Mr. Mahama Yarga, feasibility studies and environmental impact assessment were not extended to the affected communities in Ghana, and the Burkinabe authorities may not consider themselves obliged to compensate such communities. He said government ought to find a permanent solution to the problem.
Governments should consider conducting an environmental impact assessment of the spillage of the Bagre Dam and engage their counterparts in Burkina Faso for some compensation by way of resettlement of communities that on an annual basis tend to be threatened by the spillage.
Mr. Mahama Ayarga said plans to reroute the spillage into the Polugu Dam to aid irrigation during the dry season is commendable, but will only help communities close to Polugu. Meanwhile, the spillage does not only affect the Upper East region, but also communities further down the Volta Lake.
If you dam Polugu, it will retain the water that will be coming from the Bagre Dam. So those further downstream after Polugu will get some protection. It doesn't mean that Polugu Dam itself not also be full and need to be spilled. It may also be possible that after heavy rains and after Bagre Dam spills, Polugu Dam may also get full, and then they will also need to spill in order to save and protect the integrity of that dam.
He suggests the spillage should be done gradually to minimize the danger it poses to communities along the water corridor.
There's an emotional attachment to the land, and the land is not wasted entirely for the entire period. There should be some mechanism for determining a gradual spillage over a long period of time, not wait till the dam is full to 135 meters.
Mr. Mahama Ayariga entreated the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, to set up temporary camps for the safety of the people. The dam is expected to be opened on Friday.
The Ghana Health Service, in collaboration with its partners, have established a public health emergency response center and a molecular testing laboratory in the Western region. This forms part of its response to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic and also prepare for future emergencies.
The COVID-19 pandemic exposed gaps in the country's health delivery value chain. Key among these was inadequate molecular testing facilities. Currently, Ghana boasts of 34 testing facilities, 16 of which are state-owned. The Ghana Health Service, with support from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention and Center for Health Systems, has established a public health emergency operations center and a molecular testing laboratory at 2nd D. The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar Boaji, said the facility forms part of the COVID-19 response initiatives.
In times like this, when COVID-19 has come to expose gaps and deficits we have in the area of molecular diagnosis, it indeed settles well to find the U.S. government, through the CDC and the Center of Health System strengthened, put in this evidence to give public health laboratory the capacity to undertake molecular testing, and in particular testing for COVID-19, now a global pandemic which has shaken the foundation of the earth.
The U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Madam Stephanie Sullivan, said the U.S. will continue to partner with Ghana to ensure world-class health emergency response systems.
The United States is firmly committed to strengthening multilateral cooperation on global health and global health security. This pandemic has shown us the need for global efforts to combat global challenges. We know the pandemic won't end at home until it ends throughout the world. So we'll continue to explore opportunities with Ghana under the Global Health Security Agenda to fight the current COVID-19 pandemic and be prepared for any emerging public health threats.
The Western Regional Minister, Mr. Kwabna Ochreda Komensa, called for investment in the pharmaceutical sector in the region.
We believe that the onset of APTAC, we have the capability to also set up few industries in the area of pharmaceutical products to augment the health delivery value chain of the country Ghana. And therefore, we believe that when you get interest from your country, America, let them know that Western region is ready for business, and especially for the pharmaceutical industries that we see in other parts of the country.
On Wednesday, some illegal structures on state lands within the Amrahia dairy enclave in the Greater Accra region were pulled down. A team from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and Security personnel conducted a morning exercise. A word of caution to people occupying state lands is the handing down of a 15-year jail term if caught per the new Land Act 2020, Act 1036. Clara Mlano reports.
It was established for agricultural purposes and to produce fresh milk for citizens in the 60s. But over time, business at the Amrahia dairy farms took a tumble. And this is where encroachers took advantage to encroach on its 1,381-acre land sandwiched between the Lankwantana Madina and Adenta municipalities. Now, over 150 acres of the land is gone. The exercise is to reclaim the lands for redevelopment. Buildings and walls beyond the boundary belt erected to protect the land were demolished, while some people on sites were arrested. A Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources in charge of lands and forestry, Mr. Benito Wusupio, who led the exercise, cautioned all developers to halt and vacate the encroached premises, as the team will return to clear all the structures in the days ahead.
If you look beyond, you will see the buildings of the dairy farm, and then beyond too, we have the irrigation dam that serves as water for the cattle that we are rearing. Accra needs a dairy farm. We have to understand that not every place can be built on. We cannot put concrete on everything in Accra here. So there's the need for us to keep something and protect it for other purposes and other uses.
The dairy farm manager, Mr. Seth Frimpong, lauded government's intervention and called for more of such exercises to protect the remaining lands. Mr. Benito Wusubio urged the assemblies and traditional authorities not to encourage people to indulge in any illegalities, but help government fight against encroachment on state lands. For GBC News, Clara Mlano reporting.
COVID-19 has underscored the pressing need for all to focus more technology, especially in the operations of many organizations. At the opening of a two-day Human Resource Leaders Conference in Accra, the Director of Human Resource at the Bank of Ghana, Ms. Gloria Korte, challenged human resource practitioners in the country to adapt to the new normal, which includes conducting meetings, recruitment and training virtually, while making sure that the best results are achieved in the end. COVID-19 has thrown the world out of sync, and the human resource function is under intense pressure. Organizations have been compelled to cut the salary of workers and their budgets, readjust working schedules and lay off workers. In effect, advertising, outsourcing, screening of applications and training were shelved or reduced in a direct response to COVID-19 to assess the key challenges facing the human resource function and provide solutions to maximize their function and also share best practices. Human resource practitioners drawn from the public and private sector are meeting in Accra.
There are reports that are coming out that the function of the human resource became so relevant at this crucial time. So as a body also realize that we cannot sit down, then let's bring this body, create a platform for the HR professionals to come and have those who have really gone ahead of us to really take us through what we can do in order to avert the situation.
The Director of Human Resource at the Bank of Ghana, Ms. Gloria Corti, entreated human resource practitioners to ensure that the organizations appropriate sufficient resources to acquire technological devices in response to COVID-19, which calls for minimal human contact and gatherings at workplaces.
Technology took center stage, relegating humans temporarily to the fringes when COVID-19 struck. So we began to look for all the things that we can automate and do online and get our people to stay at home so that work can go on. This places a heavy responsibility on HR practitioners to convince boards and management of companies to appropriate sufficient resources towards the acquisition of technological devices in response to the pandemic, which does not allow human congregating in huge numbers at one place. In the Bank of Ghana, for instance, last year when COVID-19 really did strike and we were all, that was when we did more training than ever, because we shifted online and the numbers, we could just get the numbers on.
The two-day conference has the theme, Shifting HR's Role from Standardizing and Enforcing Workforce Policies to a New Responsibility of Re-Architecting Work across the enterprise.
Well, in our August market series, we focus on the Pasa market today. With lack of space for markets, the traders have taken over the main road in the town. It endangers the lives of both traders and pedestrians alike. To avert any disaster, the traders are appealing to the District Assembly to develop an area demarcated for them by the Traditional Council into a modern market.
Pasa Market is rotational between major towns in the Kwanta North District of the Uti region. Every 6 days is market day and it lasts for 3 days in the week. Traders from farming communities in the area flood the market with large quantities of fresh and processed food items, especially cereals and tubers, to sell for cheap, making the market a one-stop wholesale point for affordable farm produce. Cheap is good for many, so it attracts traders from across the country. The market has expanded over the years and the lack of space has forced the traders onto the main road in the town.
We don't have any permanent space to sit. The cars are always distracting us.
For the lack of stalls and warehouse, some display their wares on the bare ground under the scorching sun.
We want the market to be fixed. We don't have anywhere to sit whenever it rains. During market days especially, the cars compete for space with us.
The market lacks basic amenities.
We have only one public place of convenience. So if you want to attend to nature's call, you have to do it elsewhere.
The dusty nature of the road and the lack of a place of convenience is a bother to traders. It is the same situation at the Damanko market, and the challenges are virtually the same as what pertains in Pasa. Vehicles and traders struggle to use the little space available. Damanko is a yam and cassava growing area, making the market a wholesale point for retailers from other parts of the country.
The market is too small for the people. Though we have been given a land by the authorities, it has not been fully constructed. We plead that government construct a befitting market for us.
Government should open up the market and construct the road.
At Basa and Damanko, the traditional authorities have made available land for the markets. Now, the traders are looking up to the district assemblies to build them modern markets as part of the development agenda for the Uti region. Egiama Donko for GBC News.
Reports reaching GBC News from a source at Aplao indicates that some Togolese soldiers on Tuesday beat a Ghanaian to death. The source says the Togolese soldiers gave a mobile phone to the 27-year-old man to charge for them. It turned out later that the memory chip in the phone got missing.
The soldiers, out of anger, beat the young man to death. According to the report, a team of Ghanaian security personnel, including the police and immigration officers at the Aplao border, went to Togo yesterday about the incident. GBC News is in touch with the police and will update you on the issue when we get some more details.
Oh, very disturbing pictures there. You're still live on GBC.